Celebrities visit Sioux Falls to promote the Brendan Rock and Roll Academy. Local athletes compete in the Special Olympics, and USF students experience entrepreneurial studies.
All this and more coming up next on College Week.
From the McDonald Center on the campus of the University of Sioux Falls, this is College Week. With Brett Geese, Jaden Miller, and Dakota Case with sports.
Good morning, I'm Brett Geese.
And I'm Jaden Miller. Thanks for joining us. So Brett, last week you got to use some of your media skills and meet some pretty famous people. Tell us
Yeah, it
about
was
that.
great. On Tuesday and Wednesday, I helped out at the Brendan Rock and Roll Academy. Got to film a Night Ranger concert and got to film another concert with Alice Cooper, Tommy Thayer from KISS, Eric Singer from KISS, Robbie Krieger from The Doors. So it was a jam-packed special event those couple days.
That's really cool. That'd be fun.
Last week, the Brendan Rock and Roll Academy hosted a 5-day celebration of celebrity-packed events. The event raised more than $1 million, which will help provide a music academy to benefit the Boys and Girls Clubs of Sioux Falls. Some of the celebrity appearances include Gene Simmons, Alice Cooper, Vince Neil, and George Lopez. Dollar Loan Center CEO and Academy founder Chuck Brennan said it was not only an incredible week of entertainment, but it was also a time for people to see the facility and learn about the mission.
A 2008 USF graduate, Adam Seif, launched a social media campaign last March to get the attention of Taylor Swift and bring her to Lauren Lolo Hacker, an 11-year-old with leukemia. Lolo is best friends with Seif's niece, so he and his brother Zach used their talents to create and post a video on YouTube. Once the video was released, it spread quickly to Facebook and Twitter, and Taylor Swift saw it the first day and decided that she wanted to make Lolo's wish come true. Swift visited Lolo at the Omaha Children's Hospital and Medical Center a few days before the March 13th kickoff of her world tour. According to Seif, he and his brother made the video because they are always motivated by love and a constant desire to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
The Theology and Science departments are coming together for a conference on Christian ethics and the environmental stewardship. Director of Climate and Science Center at Texas Tech University, Dr. Catherine Hayo, is the distinguished guest speaker for the event. Hayo is also the founder and CEO of Atmos Research, a scientific consulting company. The conference covers global warming concerns and will address climate factors for the faith-based decisions. The event takes place on Monday, April 8th at 7:30 p.m. in Z Hall.
Although college sports always draw a crowd, one local organization in Sioux Falls is giving the crowd something to cheer about. College Week's Ryan Howe looks into one organization that unites more than just the sports for Special Olympics.
Special Olympics United is a local organization that actually ties into even larger organizations, including South Dakota Special Olympics and USA Special Olympics.
In September 1986, the United Nations launches the International Year of Special Olympics. The theme is Special Olympics Uniting the World. Special Olympics United Sioux Falls, which started in 2000, based its principles around that statement. Carol Wolf, head coach of the Special Olympics United, says how she started the organization and why it is so beneficial for her athletes.
I originally started a swim program called Adapted Aquatics in 1997, and some of my students wanted to compete in swimming. They did not qualify for some reason or another on their school team. I think strictly because of their age. We are the team that started with the youngest athletes because they have to be 8 to compete. So in 2000, that's probably the biggest reason is that some of my athletes wanted to swim, and that was their sport, and their siblings got to do, other sports and other organizations, and this is where, I guess, how we got going.
Unlike the bigger organizations, United does not have any financial help from any businesses or schools. Doyle Johnson, president of Special Olympics United, says that fundraising not only helps the organization financially, it is also a great way to promote the Special Olympics.
Well, our fundraisers follow two goals. One, to raise funds for our athletes to train and to purchase any equipment that they might need. Also to help families of our athletes as when they do travel and other places for the competitions. The second goal of our fundraisers is to spread the word of Special Olympics, helping helping people understand that, we do need as much help as we can, and also that our athletes are just as special and just as important as the kids that are going into the high school sports.
Special Olympics United area is May 3rd for swimming at the Elman Center, and May 4th is out at the Brandon High School track for the track and field events. Following is state, which will be in Spearfish this year. For College Week, I'm Ryan Howe.
So Jaden, have you been able to do any traveling while here at USF?
Yeah, actually this past summer I had the opportunity to study at the Beijing Institute of Technology, which was a great experience. Is there anywhere that you wish you would have been able to study abroad at?
Just somewhere. It's nice to be here in Sioux Falls, but to get the other experiences would have been nice. Oh well, what do you do, I guess.
Yeah.
Over the past several years, the University of Sioux Falls has worked to provide educational opportunities for students even beyond the USF campus. So the Study Abroad program allows students to experience and learn about other cultures while completing their degree. Director of International Education, Dr. Randy Nelson, says studying abroad is an experience like no other.
When you study abroad and you actually interact with the people and you interact very directly with the culture, you begin to realize that the things that you've thought all your life and the way you've done things all your life aren't necessarily set in stone. There are just so many benefits from this. It's an education like no other.
USF partners with universities in 5 different countries. Next week, our College Week news team will take a closer look at the study abroad opportunities at USF.
Coming up next, USF students prepare for their next theater production.
Don't go away.
In the USF Theater Department, students are rehearsing for their next production, The Laramie Project. The production tells the story of a 21-year-old University of Wyoming student who was kidnapped and killed in Laramie, Wyoming in 1998. The playwrights conducted more than 200 interviews with the people of Laramie in order to construct a deeply moving theatrical experience that explores the depths to which humanity can sink and the compassion of which we are capable. The show will run April 19th and 20th and April 21st and April 26th through 28th. Call the box office at 605-331-6787 for tickets or purchase them online at usiouxfalls.edu.
Each year, 60,000 people across the country die from secondhand smoke. And Sioux Falls parks are making a change in their tobacco policy. Now, tobacco use is prohibited at all city parks when youth activities are taking place and at all city playgrounds. If someone was caught smoking, they will be given an extinguishing packet to put out the cigarette and to dispose it. Signs simply stating tobacco use is not allowed are now posted around parks, and the policy is effective immediately.
An Augustana alumnus and Sioux Falls native has been appointed to the Minnesota Supreme Court. David Lillehog, who graduated from Augustana in 1976, is a Minneapolis attorney and a former U.S. attorney for Minnesota. Lillehog was appointed by Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton on the end of March to fill an upcoming vacancy on the Minnesota Supreme Court. According to news reports, Governor Dayton described Lillehog as one of the most brilliant minds he has ever encountered. Lillehog will replace Justice Paul Anderson, who will reach the mandatory retirement age of 70 this May.
A new area of studies focuses at USF on preparing students for the business world and beyond. College Week reporter Eric Carlson looks into the entrepreneurship program at USF.
Probability or these high impact? Why do you want at least 2 multiple?
The University of Sioux Falls entrepreneurship program is now deeply devoted to teaching the skills necessary to become a successful business owner and leader within the community. Professor Van Zee, director and assistant professor of the Little Bridge Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership and Innovation, says he sees real-world success right here in the community.
We're seeing a surprising amount of success. First, because we teach the entrepreneurs that this is officer school, not infantry school. They have to think like leaders. They take a lot of leadership roles on campus. But we've had over 10 students that are now running a business. In fact, right now I have 2 students in class that are working for 2 previous students who are owning and running their businesses.
And one of those students running their own business is TJ Doohan, the owner of Sioux Glow 5K.
This business, I actually started out as a project in class, and we did the Lotus Blossom in the Entrepreneurial Studies class, and it was one of the events that I wanted to become an event coordinator.
According to Dean Disdick, the Director of Strategic Initiatives for the Sioux Falls Development Foundation, he says he believes entrepreneurs can also get a good start through the South Dakota Technology Business Center even before graduation.
We also are responsible for the South Dakota Technology Business Center, and that is the incubator in town for new startup business and entrepreneurial companies.
Entrepreneurial companies are no strangers to previous business owner Professor Watley, who serves as Assistant Professor of Business Administration at the University of Sioux Falls. He agrees that the future holds huge potential for Sioux Falls entrepreneurs.
Well, I think one of the major benefits to having an entrepreneurship program here in Sioux Falls is the business climate. Sioux Falls itself is really conducive, and the state of South Dakota is conducive to small business owners from a tax structure, from a growth standpoint. If you take a look at the unemployment numbers, you know, they're far less than what you'd look at finding in the nation, the national average. And there's just a lot of good things going on here, especially the growth opportunities. As the population continues to grow, there's going to be more services that are needed. And, you know, what better avenue for a university to look at standing behind, you know, the culture of service than empowering, you know, the next generation of entrepreneurs, not only to look at making a buck, but to fulfilling a higher purpose.
For the University of Sioux Falls, I'm Eric Carlson.
Over the years, audiences have followed
For
Dorothy and her
KCFS
friends down the
News,
yellow
I'm
brick road
Eric
through the
Carlson.
land of Oz. College Week's Tracy Moore and Hannah Olson tell us about a new movie which visits the land of Oz even before the time of Dorothy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Moore.
And I'm Hannah Olson, and today we are going to review the movie The Oz, the Great and Powerful, which is a prequel to the original movie The Wizard of Oz.
And this movie stars James Franco, Mila Kunis, Rachel Weisz, and Michelle Williams, and it's directed by Sam Raimi, and he also did the Spider-Man trilogy. And so Hannah, what did you think about the acting in this movie?
I thought the acting was quite well done. I know some people, you know, suggested someone else should have played the lead other than James Franco, but I think he did. I think he did quite well with the character. The other actors, playing the three witches in the movie, I thought they did a very good job and brought the character of that they portrayed out very well.
Mm-hmm. Now, this movie doesn't really have the musical numbers that we're used to from the original.
Not at all.
So that one, it was kind of weird to not have those there.
Almost, yeah. Until you mentioned that, I think I missed totally the absence of music, but then you mentioned it, I'm like, oh, that's right. And actually, even though while I was watching it, I kept thinking, you know, when you wish... No, that's not the right song. That's not
Somewhere
the right
Over
song.
the Rainbow?
Somewhere
Yeah.
Over the Rainbow, and I kept thinking I was hearing that, and I was like, no, it's not there. I don't know. Where's it at? But then,
Because Dorothy's not there, right?
Dorothy's not there, so it's probably appropriate.
Yeah.
Probably appropriate, but...
And like the visuals of this movie are a huge draw for audiences, especially
Very
when the
much
first
so.
trailers came out. The look of it is probably going to attract the most people.
Yep,
So.
and I watched it in 3D, and this, if you get the chance, this is a really good movie to watch in 3D because the graphics were very well done.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of action per se, but a lot of good scenes where, you know, stuff kind of starts to come off the screen towards you, and that's obviously one of the desires with 3D.
Sure.
You know, so overall, Tracy, how did you feel about the movie?
I felt like I really liked it. I thought it was very interesting, the pattern that they used with the black and white to color near the beginning again, and that the tornado was sort of the transition from the black and white to color, just like the original was. So I thought that was a nice throwback. They had a lot of throwback moments.
Yeah.
But definitely the technology that was used to create this movie was much bigger than the previous one.
Yeah. So a rating on it?
I'd probably give it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Okay. I'm thinking 4 out of 5. I very much enjoyed the movie, was entertained by it. I think probably one of the most interesting aspects was the characters of especially the Bad Witch takes a drastic turn, and you're just like, oh, you know, and so it's very, very interesting. Won't give anything away, but that was an interesting aspect, and for me, it didn't ruin the original movie. So
No.
4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I would totally watch it. So I think that's all from us. I'm Hannah Olson.
I'm Tracy Moore.
Back to you guys in the studio.
So Jaden, have you seen any good movies lately?
Not really. I'm not a big movie person, and if I want to see something, I wait for it on Netflix or Redbox. How about you?
The last movie I saw in theater was Django Unchained. I actually saw that twice in theaters.
Cool.
So,
Was that good?
I thought it was a great movie. Coming up next, Jamie Fuller sits down with Mike Thompson.
Don't go away.
Good morning and welcome to Java Talk. I'm Jamie Fuller and I'm sitting down today with Assistant Professor of Criminal Justice, Mr. Mike Thompson.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning, Mike?
Fantastic.
Well, good. I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about how your college changed towards the end of your undergraduate studies?
I graduated from South Dakota State in December of 1984. And I had a double major, sociology and criminal justice, and I was working as an assistant manager at Burger King. And there's nothing against managers at Burger King, but it wasn't a long-term career option.
Yeah.
So I took the spring law school admissions test, just kind of on a last-minute thing, and then got into USD Law School.
All right, and how has that changed your life from what you think it would have been if you would have just stayed with your undergraduate?
The law school experience?
Yeah.
My undergraduate academic preparation was less rigorous than the law school. I think that the law school experience has allowed me to, and being a lawyer has allowed me to meet so many different people with so many different stories. And so that's a fun part of it. The other part of it is just the intellectual part of it that keeps you going.
Yeah, I went down to USD for a law school visit a few weeks ago, and they almost kept pushing about how being a lawyer helps people and helping people. And is that how you feel about it, or is that kind of how they prepared you for it?
No, it's gotten a lot more cushy in law school than when I was there. It was so Socratic and shaming and questioning and questioning and questioning and questioning. It wasn't about you're going to be a helper. It was something different. But you do end up helping people to a certain extent.
All right, and how did you end up in Sioux Falls from Brookings to Vermilion to here?
I grew up in Brandon, graduated from Brandon Valley High School, so I've never ventured too far.
No?
No.
All right, and then what was your favorite part about law school?
My favorite part about law school? Intramural basketball.
They have that in law school.
They do. You can play intramural basketball. And I liked the trial class. That was probably my favorite class.
Yeah. And how about the least favorite part?
The least favorite was the cold calling, where the professor would just pick up some student and just work on them for the whole hour.
So you'd even have to be prepared after that intramural basketball game, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you did have to be. But that really loosened you up and freed your mind of other concerns. The basketball did.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks.
And did you start off straight as a lawyer right out of law school then?
I went to work as a law clerk for a year up in Watertown. And as a law clerk, you work with 5 judges or however many there are in that circuit and help them research and write opinions.
All right, and how did that experience go for you?
Fantastic.
Good.
That was very fun.
All right, and then now you're a professor of criminal justice at USF here,
Yes.
and how is that different than being a lawyer for you?
Much more fun. Much more fun. I don't have to deal with all the sadness and bad feelings that go along with litigation and all of that. But on the other side, it's kind of like preparing for a trial every day, because you got students who are looking at you constantly, or not constantly, some of us aren't.
No, I know in our business law class we question you constantly, so I'm sure it's just like
It is. It's very difficult.
All
Room
right.
full of smart people is hard.
Well, good. That's a good thing, right?
It is, yes.
All right. And then how do you plan on staying a professor, or do you want to go back into being a lawyer? Or
I
anything?
plan on staying a professor as long as they'll have me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Does that come as a surprise to you?
No, I'm not surprised at all.
Oh, good.
I'm not surprised. You seem very comfortable in the classroom
I like doing
at
it, yes.
8 a.m. in the morning. Much more chipper than everybody else. Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us today. That was very wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us for another edition of Java Talk. Stay tuned for sports.
Sometimes the world moves faster than you do. It can move so fast that you just can't keep up. That's why you need to be able to trust people. You need to trust someone who can slow things down for you. I'm Jaden Miller, USF College Week anchor, and you can count on me to keep you up to speed.
Now here's a look at sports with Thomas Marshall.
Well, guys, spring is finally here, which means it's time for baseball. What are you guys looking forward to this season?
A lot of home runs. It's the beginning of the season. All the players start fresh. It's a clean slate. We'll see who knocks them out the park the most.
I'm excited just to sit back on a nice summer day and catching some baseball.
I'm with you on that one.
Exactly.
I concur. The USF softball and baseball teams hit the diamond in Sioux Falls on Wednesday afternoon. The USF softball team hosted Concordia St. Paul in an afternoon doubleheader. The Cougars split with the Golden Bears in the first game. Bailey Bauman struck out in a 5-inning complete game for the Cougars as USF won 10-0 in a game called early. In the second game, USF fell short, losing 2-0. Amanda Walters pitched the distance going 7 innings but couldn't get any help from her offense. USF record goes to 9-13 and 4-4 in the play at St. Cloud and Minnesota Duluth this weekend. Meanwhile, the USF baseball team resumed their rivalry against Augustana at Caris Field. Augustana captured Game 1 of the doubleheader, beating the Cougars 2-1. Keith Cutler hit a solo home run for the Cougars as the lone run. Derek Fisher pitched a complete game in the loss for the Cougars. In Game 2, USF salvaged the series and split the Vikings. The Cougars knocked off the Vikings 6-2. Damian Cardes hit the RBI single in the top of the 7th to give the Cougars the lead. USF then added 3 more runs in the 8th. Noah Coleman picked up his second win for the Cougars as USF is 8-16 and 3-7 in conference play. They host Wayne State for this weekend at Harmondon Park from the baseball diamond to the hardwood. The NCAA's men's basketball tournament is down to its Final Four. The College Week sports team takes a look at what they expect to happen in Atlanta.
Hey guys, it's College Week Sports Team. I'm John Vanatop.
And I'm Brett Geese.
We're going to be sitting down talking a little bit of bracketology, NCAA men. Brett, Michigan versus Syracuse. Who you got?
I have Michigan in this one. The way they've been playing lately, they're going to be the team to beat. Mitch McGarry has been providing tons of energy for this team. You know about Trey Burke, you know about Tim Hardaway Jr. So Michigan is a loaded team. They're hungry. They're going to win this game. Syracuse, they will put up a good fight. They have really good defense. Held Marquette to 39 points. I don't think Michael Carter-Williams will be able to hold them enough, get enough points. So I think Michigan's going away with this one. How about on the other side, Louisville and Wichita State?
Well, everybody knows Wichita State, number 9 seed. No one was expecting them to make it to the Final Four, coming up against a team like Gonzaga. You know, a little bit of an I don't know what the word you would call it.
Unheralded?
Yeah, an unheralded team. Not a lot of competition they had in the regular season, but they come in as a number 1 seed. Wichita State knocks them off. Guys like Clee Anthony Early, he's been great for them all year. And then as the tournament progresses on, Armistead, their point guard, has come in and played phenomenal basketball.
He's been great.
I have to go ahead and say Louisville's going to win this. They came in as the number 1 overall seed. Peyton Siva all year has been a great player, averaging about 10 points a game, about 7 assists or so, over 2 steals a game. So those are great numbers. And then Smith also has been great for them, averaging 18 points a game, you know, also about 2 steals a game. So I really like Louisville in this game.
Games are on Saturday on CBS. The national championship will be on Monday as well on CBS. So that's what we think is going to happen in the Final Four. Who knows what's going to happen, though?
We're never right, so we'll hope for the best. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, baseball and basketball aren't the only sports celebrated around the world. A world record barracuda was recently caught in Angola. The previous record was a 101-pound and 3-ounce fish in Africa.
Thomas Gibson, a Houston resident, reeled in the big fish, which was 7 feet long and 102 pounds. The The fish was caught in Kwanzaa River, which typically averages around 10 to 20 pound barracuda. Gibson previously had caught a 65-pound barracuda.
Wow.
Well, Brett, with the warm weather coming up, do you go fishing at all? Is that something you've ever done?
I've never actually gone fishing. It's terrible because being from this area, but just haven't got out there. How about you, Thomas?
I love fishing. Being from the south in the humid area, being across the lakes and the ponds and stuff like that, it's the best thing ever.
What's the biggest fish you've caught?
The biggest fish I caught was a sail catfish, and it looked like a shark. And we didn't even bring it on the boat. We just cut the string loose and let it go. So, yeah, I wasn't messing with that.
And that wraps up another edition of USF College Week. I'm Brett Geese.
And I'm Jaden Miller. Have a great day. I forgot.